The grease under my fingernails never bothered me until tonight. I'm staring at my phone screen, watching my 5-year-old daughter Ivy giggle at some stranger's joke, and all I can think about is how dirty my hands look against the pristine white of my device. Before we dive deeper into this story, I have one small request. Please subscribe, drop a like, comment, and hit that hype button to boost this channel so more people can discover these incredible Reddit stories. "Daddy, this is my weekend daddy," Ivy announces cheerfully, tilting the phone to show a man I've never seen before. He's got perfect teeth, expensive sunglasses pushed up on his forehead, and he's sitting way too close to my little girl at what looks like a beachside cafe. My name is Elias Aldridge, and I fix airplanes for a living. Not glamorous work, but it pays the bills and keeps my family comfortable in our lakefront home outside Portland. At least, I thought it did. "Who's that, sweetheart?" I ask, keeping my voice steady while my heart hammers against my ribs. "That's Caleb. He got me pancakes with chocolate chips and whipped cream. Look!" She holds up a plate that probably cost more than I make in a day. The video call cuts out before I can ask more questions. I'm alone in our kitchen, surrounded by the silence that's become too familiar lately. Vera's been gone for 3 days on another photography assignment. She's an Instagram influencer with 40,000 followers who love her travel shots and mother-daughter adventures. What they don't know is that I'm the one paying for those adventures with overtime shifts at the airport. I scroll through her latest posts. There's Ivy building sandcastles, Ivy in a new swimsuit I didn't buy, Ivy eating ice cream with someone's shadow visible in the corner of the frame. A man's shadow. The comments are full of heart-eye emojis and questions about her mystery man. Vera responds with winking faces and just friends deflections that make my stomach turn. I pour myself 3 fingers of bourbon and sit in my garage workshop, staring at the tools that have been my companions for 20 years. Everything has its place here. Everything makes sense. Unlike my marriage. My phone buzzes with a text from Vera. "Working late on the shoot? Don't wait up. Kiss Ivy goodnight for me." Except Ivy isn't here. She's with her weekend daddy, eating pancakes and living it up while her actual father sits alone, wondering when his life turned into a bad country song. I check the timestamp on Ivy's video call. 3 p.m. Pacific time. I check Vera's Instagram story from 2 hours ago. She's at the same cafe, same table, but the angle carefully excludes whoever took the photo. 23 years I've been fixing things. Engines, landing gear, hydraulic systems. I can diagnose a problem from the sound it makes, trace electrical issues through miles of wiring, rebuild a turbine engine from memory. But I never saw this coming. The bourbon burns, but not as much as the realization that my wife has been playing house with another man using my money and my daughter as props for her perfect life fantasy. I open my laptop and start digging. 3 days later, Vera comes home with a tan and a new camera lens that costs more than my monthly truck payment. She's all smiles and stories about the amazing networking opportunities and how Ivy made so many new friends. "Who's Caleb?" I ask, while she unpacks designer clothes I didn't know she owned. She freezes for just a second, just long enough for me to know I hit something. "Oh, he's just someone we met at the resort. Nice guy, works in therapy or counseling, I think." "Why?" Ivy seemed pretty attached to him on the video call. "You know how kids are. They make friends everywhere." She kisses my cheek, and I smell expensive cologne that isn't mine. I'm exhausted. Long flight. But I checked the flight schedules. Her plane landed at 2 p.m. It's now 8 p.m. 6 hours to get home from the airport that's 30 minutes away. That night, while Vera showers, I go through her phone. She's gotten sloppy, or maybe she wants me to find out. The messages with someone named C go back 3 months. "Can't wait to see you both again. Ivy keeps asking when we're coming back. You deserve so much better than what you have at home." The photos in their private chat make me want to put my fist through the wall. Vera in a bikini I've never seen, sitting on some guy's lap. Ivy building sandcastles while this Caleb character watches her like he has any right to. But the one that really gets me is a screenshot of our joint bank account. Vera sent it to him with the message, "Don't worry about the hotel costs. He'll never notice." $15,000 in the last 3 months. Flights, hotels, restaurants, shopping sprees, all funded by my overtime hours crawling around airplane engines in 100-degree hangars. I take pictures of everything with my own phone, then delete the evidence that I was ever there. The next morning, Vera's making coffee and humming some song I don't recognize when Ivy comes running into the kitchen. "Daddy, guess what? Caleb says next time we can go to Disney World. He knows someone who works there and can get us special passes." Vera's coffee mug slips from her hand and shatters on the tile floor. "Ivy, sweetie, why don't you go watch cartoons?" I suggest. "But I want to tell you about..." Now Ivy. She pouts but obeys, leaving Vera and me alone with the broken pieces. We need to talk, I say. There's nothing to talk about. Ivy's just excited about vacation ideas. Vacation ideas that cost 15 grand and include another man? Her face goes white. I don't know what you're talking about. Sure you don't. I pull out my phone and show her the bank statements I printed. Business expenses, right? All those charges in San Diego when you were supposed to be in Sacramento? She starts to cry. Real tears, not the Instagram-ready kind. Elias, it's not what you think. What I think is that my wife is using my money to play house with some other guy while I work 60-hour weeks to pay for it. You don't understand. You're never here. You don't see how lonely I get, how hard it is being a single parent half the time. Single parent? The laugh that comes out of me sounds dangerous. You mean the single parent who just spent 2 weeks in luxury hotels while the actual single parent worked doubles to afford it? She's sobbing now, mascara running down her cheeks. I love you, Elias. I never meant for this to happen. But it did happen. For 3 months, it's been happening. I walk toward the door, grabbing my keys and work jacket. Where are you going? To work. Someone has to pay for your next vacation. Tommy Ricci has been my best friend since high school and my boxing trainer for the last 5 years. He runs a gym in the old part of town where guys like me go to hit things legally. When I show up at 6 a.m. looking like I haven't slept in a week, he doesn't ask questions. He just hands me the gloves. You want to talk about it or just bleed it out? He asks after I've beaten the heavy bag for 20 minutes straight. My wife's cheating on me. Shit, man. You sure? I tell him everything. The messages, the money, the weekend daddy situation. By the time I'm done, Tommy's shaking his head. What kind of sick bastard moves in on a guy's family like that? The kind who thinks he's saving them from their boring life. So what's the plan? You gonna divorce her ass? I'm thinking about it. But first, I want to know exactly what I'm dealing with. Tommy knows a guy who knows a guy. That's how I end up sitting across from Jake Morrison, a private investigator who looks like he stepped out of a noir film. He's got the weathered face and tired eyes of someone who's seen too much of humanity's worst impulses. Cheating spouse case? He asks, sliding a contract across the table. More complicated than that. She's involving my daughter. His expression hardens. That changes things. My rate just went up, but so did my interest level. I give him everything I have. Names, dates, locations, account numbers. Within 48 hours, he calls me with a preliminary report. Your boy, Caleb Brown, age 42, licensed family therapist with an office in downtown Portland. Divorced twice, no kids of his own. Clean record, but I found some interesting complaints filed with the state licensing board. 3 different women accused him of inappropriate boundary violations during therapy sessions. What kind of violations? The kind where he convinced them their marriages were toxic and they needed to explore other options. Guess who volunteered to help with the exploration? My grip on the phone tightens. This is his pattern? Looks like it. He targets married women with kids, plays the understanding therapist angle, then goes in for the takeover. Your wife isn't his first rodeo. What happened to the other women? 2 of them divorced their husbands and dated him for a few months before he moved on. The 3rd one tried to file charges, but it's hard to prove coercion when the woman went willingly. Send me everything you have. Elias, I need to ask, what are you planning to do with this information? I'm planning to protect my family. That evening, I sit Ivy down for ice cream and a careful conversation. Sweetheart, tell me about your friend Caleb. Her face lights up. He's so nice, Daddy. He always listens to me and asks about my drawings, and he buys me presents. What kind of presents? Toys and clothes and books. He said I'm the daughter he always wanted. The ice cream turns to ash in my mouth. Did Mommy tell you that Caleb might become your new daddy? She said maybe someday we could all live together in a big house by the ocean. Would you come too? I hug her tight, breathing in the scent of her strawberry shampoo. Don't worry about any of that, okay? You'll always be my little girl, no matter what. That night, I move my paychecks to a separate account and change all my passwords. I also call a lawyer. Attorney Sarah Fields has a reputation for being ruthless in divorce cases. Her office walls are covered with thank you letters from clients who got everything they asked for and then some. She's exactly what I need. Mr. Aldridge, based on what you've told me and the evidence you've provided, you have a very strong case for both divorce and full custody. What about the money she spent? Marital asset dissipation. We can make her pay back every penny plus interest and legal fees. How long will this take? If she fights it, 6 months to a year. If she's smart and takes a settlement, We could wrap it up in 60 days. What kind of settlement? She gets nothing. You get the house, full custody, and she pays you back for the affair expenses. In exchange, we don't pursue criminal charges for identity theft and fraud. I signed the papers that afternoon. But I'm not done with Caleb Brown. Jake Morrison's report includes Caleb's home address, work schedule, and daily routines. The guy lives in a fancy condo downtown, drives a BMW, and thinks he's untouchable. I decide to introduce myself. His office is in a professional building with marble floors and expensive artwork. The receptionist, a young woman who looks like she stepped out of a magazine, greets me with a practiced smile. Do you have an appointment with Dr. Brown? Actually, I'm here about a family matter. Tell him Elias Aldridge would like a word. She buzzes his office. I hear muffled conversation, then she hangs up looking confused. He says he doesn't know anyone by that name. Tell him it's about Vera and Ivy. He'll know. This time, the conversation is longer. When she hangs up, her smile is gone. He'll see you now. Down the hall, last door on the right. Caleb Brown is everything I expected, and worse. Tall, fit, with the kind of artificial charm that probably works on lonely housewives. His office is decorated with certificates and self-help books, all designed to make him look trustworthy. Mr. Aldridge, I've heard so much about you. I bet you have. All bad, right? He gestures to a chair, but I remain standing. I understand you're upset about Vera and me, but... Upset? I laugh, and it's not a pleasant sound. I'm not upset, Doc. I'm impressed. You've got a real system going here. Target married women, convince them their husbands are the problem, then swoop in as the solution. It's almost professional. His composure slips just a little. I don't know what you think you know. I know about Jennifer Martinez, divorced her husband of 12 years after 6 months of therapy with you. I know about Lisa Chen, same story. I know about the complaints filed with the state board. Now he's sweating. Those complaints were dismissed, for lack of evidence, but I've got plenty of evidence about what you've been doing with my wife and daughter. I pull out my phone and show him the photos Jake took. Caleb and Vera holding hands at dinner. Caleb buying Ivy toys at an expensive boutique. Caleb and Vera kissing in the hotel parking lot while my daughter plays on the nearby playground. You see, the other husbands didn't have what I have. What's that? Patience. And really good friends. I text Tommy, and 30 seconds later, he walks into the office. 6'4", 250 pounds of muscle and bad attitude. He doesn't say anything, just crosses his arms and stares at Caleb. This is harassment, Caleb says, reaching for his phone. No, this is a conversation between gentlemen about boundaries and consequences. Tommy steps closer. I heard you like other people's families. I'm calling security. Go ahead, I say. While you're at it, call the state licensing board. I'm sure they'd love to hear about your latest conquest, especially the part where you're using a 5-year-old girl to manipulate her mother. Caleb's hand freezes over his phone. What do you want? I want you to disappear. No more contact with Vera. No more playing daddy to my daughter. No more inserting yourself into my family. And if I don't? Tommy cracks his knuckles. Then we have a different kind of conversation. You can't threaten me. I'm not threatening you, I say. I'm making you a promise. Stay away from my family, or I'll make sure everyone in this city knows exactly what kind of therapist you are. Word travels fast in our neighborhood. Vera's Instagram followers start asking questions when she suddenly stops posting. The gossip network kicks into overdrive when people notice I'm picking Ivy up from school every day instead of the usual rotation. My friend Marcus from work is the first to bring it up directly. Hey man, everything okay at home? Haven't seen Vera at any of the neighborhood barbecues lately. We're working through some things. Anything you want to talk about? Marcus has been a good friend for 8 years. Our families have spent countless weekends together. Our kids play together. Our wives used to be close. I thought I could trust him. Vera's been seeing someone else. I'm filing for divorce. His reaction isn't what I expect. Instead of sympathy or outrage, he looks uncomfortable. Look, Elias, maybe you should consider counseling before you do anything drastic. Counseling? I mean, marriage is hard work. Maybe she just needed some attention, you know? You do work a lot of hours. The implication hits me like a punch to the gut. Are you saying this is my fault? I'm saying maybe there's blame on both sides. She spent $15,000 of our money on another man, Marcus. She's been lying to me for months. But divorce? Think about Ivy. Kids need both parents. That's when I realize he already knows. They all know. How long have you known? Known what? Don't play stupid with me. How long have you known about Vera and Caleb? He sighs. Lisa saw them together at that new restaurant downtown about 6 weeks ago. She told Jennifer, who told Sarah, who told me. 6 weeks ago. We didn't want to get involved in your marriage. But you were fine letting me look like an idiot while my wife paraded around town with another man. It wasn't like that. Get out of my garage. Elias, come on. Get out. The next few days are a masterclass in social isolation. The group chat I've been part of for 3 years goes silent whenever I post anything. Invitations stop coming. When I run into neighbors at the grocery store, conversations are awkward and brief. The worst part is the kid's birthday party that weekend. Ivy's been looking forward to celebrating her friend Emma's 6th birthday for weeks. When we show up at the park, the other parents form a protective circle around their children like I'm some kind of threat. Jennifer Martinez, Marcus's wife, approaches me with fake concern written all over her face. Elias, I heard about you and Vera. I'm so sorry. Are you? Of course. Divorce is always hard on families. What about affairs? Are those hard on families too? She shifts uncomfortably. I think maybe it's best if you and Ivy head home. This is supposed to be a happy day for the kids. Right. Wouldn't want my daughter's presence to ruin the party atmosphere. That's not what I meant. Sure it is. I take Ivy's hand and lead her away from the playground. She doesn't understand why we're leaving early, and I don't know how to explain that our friends have decided we're the villains in this story. Daddy, why was Mrs. Martinez being mean to you? Sometimes grown-ups make mistakes about who the good guys and bad guys are. Are we the bad guys? No, sweetheart, we're not. But as I watch my daughter's confusion and disappointment, I realize that being right doesn't always matter. Sometimes the truth isn't enough. The divorce papers are served on a Tuesday morning while Vera's getting ready for another photography session. She reads them twice before the reality sinks in. Elias, we can work this out. We don't need lawyers. We needed lawyers the minute you decided to spend our money on another man. It wasn't about the money. It was about respect, and you showed me exactly how much you have for me and our marriage. She tries tears, then anger, then bargaining. None of it moves me. I've had weeks to process this betrayal, and I'm done being the understanding husband. I want joint custody, she says finally. You can want whatever you like. You'll get supervised visitation until you can prove you're not going to expose our daughter to your boyfriend anymore. He's not my boyfriend. Save it for your lawyer. But Vera's not done fighting. She calls Marcus, then Jennifer, then half the neighborhood, spinning a story about my controlling behavior and emotional abuse. By the end of the week, I'm the monster who drove his poor wife into another man's arms. The narrative is simple and effective. Elias works too much, neglects his family, and now he's punishing Vera for finding happiness elsewhere. She's the victim of a cold, calculating husband who cares more about money than love. It might have worked, except for one thing. Vera gets greedy. She starts posting on social media about her journey of self-discovery and breaking free from toxic relationships. The photos are carefully staged to make her look like a brave single mother fighting for her rights. But she makes a mistake. She posts a picture of Caleb and Ivy at the zoo with the caption, "Some people understand what family really means." That's when I decide to stop playing defense. Jake Morrison's full report is 30 pages of documented evidence. Photos, financial records, witness statements, even security footage from hotels and restaurants. It's a complete timeline of the affair, including details that would make a sailor blush. But the real gold mine is Caleb's history. 3 previous affairs with married clients, 2 complaints of financial impropriety, and a pattern of behavior that any licensing board would find deeply troubling. I make copies of everything and start planning my counterattack. The first step is social media. Vera's built her brand on being the perfect wife and mother, the woman who has it all figured out. Her followers love the aspirational lifestyle content, the beautiful family photos, the inspirational quotes about love and happiness. They're about to get a reality check. I create a simple website with a simple domain name, therealvera.com. It's nothing fancy, just a clean layout with documented facts and photographic evidence. No editorial commentary, no emotional manipulation, just the truth laid out in chronological order. The second step is professional consequences. Caleb's license to practice therapy depends on maintaining ethical boundaries with clients. Dating married women he's counseling isn't just unprofessional, it's illegal in our state. I file a formal complaint with the licensing board, complete with evidence and witness statements. I also send copies to his professional association and the owner of his office building. The third step is financial accountability. Sarah Fields files motions to freeze all joint accounts and demands full financial disclosure. Every penny Vera spent on the affair becomes part of the public record. But the final step is personal. The confrontation happens at Ivy's school pickup on a Friday afternoon. I'm waiting in the usual spot when Marcus approaches me with two other dads I used to consider friends. "We need to talk," Marcus says. "Do we?" "This has gone too far, Elias. The website, the complaints, the legal harassment. You're making everyone uncomfortable." "Everyone?" "The whole neighborhood knows what you're doing to Vera. It's vindictive and cruel." I look at the three men standing in front of me like some kind of intervention committee. These are guys I've helped move furniture, shared beers with, trusted with my problems, and now they're here to lecture me about being vindictive. "Let me ask you something," I say. "If your wife spent $15,000 of your money on another man, would you just smile and wish her well?" "That's not the point." "That's exactly the point. You all knew what was happening and said nothing. You watched me work overtime to pay for my wife's affair and decided I was the problem." "We were trying to stay out of it," says Dave, another neighbor. "It wasn't our business." "But now it is your business? Now you're concerned about fairness and proportional response?" "You're destroying her reputation," Marcus says. "She made a mistake, but she doesn't deserve this." "A mistake?" I laugh, and it's not a pleasant sound. "A mistake is forgetting to pick up milk. An affair is a choice, a series of choices, made over months, with complete disregard for the consequences." "You're being unreasonable?" "I'm being logical. Actions have consequences. Vera chose to have an affair. Caleb chose to target a married woman with a child. You all chose to enable it by staying silent. Now you get to live with the consequences of those choices." "What about Ivy?" Dave asks. "This is affecting her too." "You're right. It is. She's learning that her father won't let people walk all over his family. She's learning that there's a difference between right and wrong, and that sometimes doing the right thing is hard and unpopular." "You're teaching her to be vindictive." "I'm teaching her to have self-respect." Marcus steps closer, trying to intimidate me with his height advantage. "This ends now, Elias. Take down the website, drop the complaints, and work out a reasonable custody arrangement, or we'll make sure everyone knows what kind of man you really are." "What kind of man is that?" "The kind who destroys his own family out of spite." That's when I realize they're not here as friends. They're here as Vera's allies, trying to pressure me into backing down. The betrayal is complete. "You want to know what kind of man I am?" I ask. "I'm the kind who works 60 hours a week to provide for his family. I'm the kind who coaches Little League and helps with homework and changes diapers at 3 a.m. I'm the kind who keeps his promises and honors his commitments." I look each of them in the eye. I'm also the kind who doesn't back down when someone tries to destroy everything I've built. So here's my counteroffer. Stay out of my business or become part of the story I'm telling. Is that a threat? It's a promise. You want to make this a neighborhood war? Fine. Let's see how your wives feel when everyone knows you all covered for an affair. Let's see how your reputations hold up when people find out you chose sides against the betrayed husband. They exchange glances, realizing they've overplayed their hand. "This isn't over," Marcus says. "Yes, it is. You just don't know it yet." The licensing board moves faster than I expected. Within 2 weeks, Caleb Brown's therapy practice is under investigation, his license is suspended pending review, and his professional reputation is in ruins. Vera's social media following starts to evaporate as word spreads about the affair. The aspirational lifestyle brand built on family values doesn't survive contact with reality. Her sponsors drop her, her speaking engagements get canceled, and her carefully constructed image crumbles. But she's not going down without a fight. The custody hearing is scheduled for a Thursday morning in family court. Vera shows up with an expensive lawyer and a strategy designed to paint me as an obsessive, controlling husband who's using our daughter as a weapon. Her attorney, a sharp-dressed woman named Patricia Wells, presents me as a man so consumed with revenge that I've lost sight of what's best for my child. "Your Honor, Mr. Aldridge has conducted a systematic campaign of harassment against my client. He's created websites, filed frivolous complaints, and attempted to destroy her career and reputation. This is not the behavior of a stable parent." Sarah Fields stands to respond. "Your Honor, Mr. Aldridge has simply documented the truth about his wife's affair and its impact on their family. Every fact on that website is supported by evidence. Every complaint filed is based on documented misconduct. My client's only crime is refusing to be a silent victim." The judge, a stern woman in her 60s, reviews the evidence with the kind of thoroughness that makes lawyers nervous. "Ms. Wells, your client spent $15,000 of marital assets on an extramarital relationship. She exposed the couple's 5-year-old daughter to her affair partner without the father's knowledge or consent. She lied repeatedly about her whereabouts and activities. How exactly is documenting these facts harassment?" "Your Honor, everyone makes mistakes. This wasn't a mistake. This was a pattern of deception and financial impropriety that lasted several months. Vera starts crying, but it's too late. The judge has seen the evidence, heard the testimony, and made her decision. I'm awarding primary custody to Mr. Aldridge. Ms. Aldridge will have supervised visitation every other weekend until she completes a co-parenting class and demonstrates that she can maintain appropriate boundaries. Vera's lawyer tries to object, but the judge isn't finished. Furthermore, Ms. Aldridge will reimburse Mr. Aldridge for all marital assets spent on the affair, plus legal fees and court costs. This court does not look favorably on spouses who use family resources to fund extramarital relationships. Outside the courthouse, Vera makes one last attempt at reconciliation. Elias, please. We can still fix this. I'll end things with Caleb. We can go to counseling. It's too late for that. What about Ivy? She needs her mother. She needs a mother who puts her first. When you figure out how to be that person, we can talk about expanding your visitation. You've destroyed everything. No, Vera, you did that. I just made sure everyone knew who was responsible. 6 months later, I'm coaching Ivy's soccer team and dating a teacher named Rebecca who thinks my devotion to my daughter is attractive rather than inconvenient. Life isn't perfect, but it's honest. Vera moved to Seattle with what was left of her savings. She tries to rebuild her social media presence, but the internet has a long memory. Caleb lost his license and now sells insurance. They broke up 3 months ago when reality set in, and the excitement of forbidden romance gave way to the mundane challenges of actual relationship building. The neighborhood dynamics never fully recovered. Marcus and Jennifer got divorced 6 months after our confrontation when she found out he'd been having his own affair. Dave moved to Arizona for a job transfer that looked suspiciously like running away from his problems. Some people call me vindictive. Others say I was justified. I don't care about either opinion. I care about the fact that my daughter knows her father will fight for her, that actions have consequences, and that sometimes doing the right thing means being willing to be unpopular. The website is still up, not out of spite, but as a reminder. To Vera, to Caleb, to everyone who thinks they can destroy someone's family without consequences. I get emails sometimes from other betrayed spouses asking for advice. I tell them all the same thing. Document everything, protect your children, and never let anyone convince you that fighting for your family makes you the villain. Because at the end of the day, that's what this was about. Not revenge, not vindictiveness, not even justice. It was about protecting my family from people who saw us as disposable. And I'd do it all again. Today is Ivy's 7th birthday. She's having a party at the house with her new friends from school and Rebecca's daughter Emma. There's cake and presents and the kind of laughter that makes all the fighting worthwhile. "Daddy," Ivy says as I'm cleaning up wrapping paper, "do you ever miss Mommy?" It's a question she asks sometimes, usually when she's processing the changes in her life. I miss the person I thought she was, I tell her honestly, but I don't miss being lied to or having our family treated like it didn't matter. I'm glad you didn't let her take me away. I would never let that happen, sweetheart. You're the most important thing in the world to me. She hugs me tight, and I realize that everything I went through was worth it for this moment. The accusations, the isolation, the legal battles, the social exile, all of it was the price of protecting what mattered most. My phone buzzes with a text from an unknown number. It's Vera. I saw the photos from Ivy's party on Rebecca's Facebook. She looks happy. Thank you for taking care of her. I delete the message without responding. Some conversations are over, and some bridges are meant to stay burned. Rebecca finds me in the kitchen, washing dishes and thinking about second chances. Everything okay? Everything's perfect. And for the first time in years, I mean it.